Good evening, Interim Manager Claudia.
staff, and community. Today, October 2021, call our Board County Commissioners meeting to order by reading the public charge. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. So at this time, I will quote the Pledge of Allegiance and ask the board to recite with me. The Pledge of Allegiance now reads, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any agenda adjustments, Commissioner? Hearing none. Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, Mr. Howerton, and I'm sorry if you did not see it, but I had sent out a statement that I hope that our board would adopt tonight. And I'm sorry if you didn't see it. Sent it out a few hours ago, and that was the only item that I just wanted to add to our agenda tonight.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have Maceo read our announcements tonight. We are grateful to have him with us today. Monica is not here, so he is going to read our announcements. Thank you, Maceo. You want to go ahead?
Interim County Manager, County Commissioners, County Attorney, and the citizens. I will now read the announcements for tonight's meeting. Resident feedback for County Manager search. Durham County is inviting public comments regarding the hiring of the next county manager. Please submit your responses by Wednesday, October the 20th to the following: www.emplant.com/survey. The Department of Social Services to administrate new property tax program. The DSS Department, in partnership with the Tax Administration, have developed the Low-Income Homeowners Relief Program. This program will serve exclusively Durham homeowners who have owned their home 10 years or more and who are currently not receiving any state tax subsidies for their property. Eligible homeowners must have incomes less than 30% or equal to of the average median income. More information will be available throughout the month of October by visiting www.dconc.gov/DSS. The Sanford L. Warren Branch Library to reopen late 2022. Due to necessary repairs caused by water intrusions, the Sanford L. Warren Library, located at 1201 Fairville Street, will reopen late 2022. Please visit www.durhamcountylibrary.org for additional information, updates, and a list of other libraries and their hours. Early voting for the municipal election. The Durham County Board of Elections want to help all voters avoid long lines and vote early for the 2021 municipal election. Early voting begins on Thursday, October the 14th, and continues until Saturday, October the 30th. To find full details on early voting, visit our website at www.dcovotes.com, email elections@dconc.gov, or call 919-560-0700. 2021 tax bill payment. Durham County Tax allows citizens the option to make impartial payments on real property taxes through January the 5th, 2022. Payment options includes check, bank drafts, money order, or cash, and taxes must be paid by January the 5th, 2022 to avoid interest and additional costs. For more information, visit our website at www.dconc.gov/tax or call 919-560-0300. Welcome Baby Clothing and Diaper Distribution. Every Friday during the month of October, Welcome Baby will host contactless pickup of baby clothing and diapers at Cooperative Extension located on 721 Foster Street. Items are available for children aged 0 to 5, and you must bring a photo ID, proof of Durham County address, and the child or children's Medicaid care or birth certificate. For questions, call 919-560-7150. Durham County Public Health COVID-19 Vaccination Clinic Hours. The COVID-19 Vaccination Clinic at the Durham County Department of Public Health, located at 414 East Main Street, has the following hours to get your free vaccination. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday, closed for select events. Appointments and walk-ins are welcome. However, please note that the clinics are closed between the hours of 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. daily. Visit www.dcopublichealth.org/COVID vaccinations or call 919-560-9217 for more information. That concludes the announcements, and I would like to remind the public that our announcements are on the website or can be accessed from the web pages. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maceo. Great job. Thank you.
You are welcome.
Listen, so, all right. So there are a couple of other things in relation to announcements. Now, commissioners, the non-discrimination ordinance is planned to be on the agenda for our work session next month. So that's coming up. Just wanted you to know that the attorneys and staff has been working on that to get that on the agenda next, the 1st of November. So that's coming up. Here Jacobs wants to read an announcement about racism, all the isms that on behalf of the board, that as citizens in this community, that we don't condone any isms, racism, sexism, all of those things. And if you would like to go ahead and read that statement that at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I read this statement on behalf of our entire board. The Durham County Board of Commissioners stand together in solidarity to condemn the hate speech of Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson. Words matter. There is no place for acceptance of hate speech from anyone, especially our local, state, and national elected leaders. As we have witnessed in recent, painful, horrific, and deadly national events, and throughout the history of our country, racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, white supremacist, and discriminatory language of any kind has real consequences and impacts the lives of people in our community and country. We, the Durham County Board of Commissioners, strongly state our abhorrence for hate speech of any kind. and our commitment to tolerance, inclusion, and diversity, and upholding the human rights of our LGBTQ+ community and all people. We support the efforts of our staff to finalize a draft non-discrimination ordinance and look forward to this being brought forward and adopted by our board as soon as possible. To our friends and neighbors who have been hurt by this vicious language, the commissioners of Durham County, we see you, we accept you, and we love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs. This is something that's happening in our country all across. It's happening in Durham. It's happening in our state. It's happening at our national level, and we don't condone it. So thank you for reading that. I just have one other thing I'd like to mention, and I'm going to thank Deborah Craig Ray, because I don't think she acknowledges how much work goes into the State of the County address. So on our website, you will see the chair, which is Chair Howerton, that will be delivering a State of the County address on October the 12th beginning. Now, we waited this long due to the last State of the County address was done last November, which made it late in the year to be doing a State of the County. I want to say State of the Union, but State of the County address would be done in November. So coming back and do it again in January, February would have just not been appropriate. And given we were in a pandemic as well, our attention was on saving lives. So the State of the County address will begin on October the 12th, and it's conducted in 3 segments. So it will be on the website, just for the public to know that on our county website, they can find it and listen to it. And just, Deborah, if you have anything that you'd like to say about that, I just want to give you an opportunity, because it's a lot of work.
Good evening, Chair Howerton, Commissioners, Interim Manager Hager, and my fellow GMs. Yes, we work to try to focus on the great work, intensive work that all of our staff did over the period of this pandemic. I don't think most people realize how hard our employees worked on their behalf to keep everybody safe, to keep everything going. And so we will start with about the budget and the priorities that your board took into account in passing the budget. And the final episode will talk about the future, leaning on the federal funds, and the website and our YouTube. It will also appear on Durham Television Network 8. So there are 3 segments. The first will start at 9 a.m. in the morning. Thank you. It was our pleasure.
Thank you, Deborah. So we have a few ceremonial items tonight. Commissioners, I think we have like 5. So the first one is a proclamation, National Hispanic Heritage Month. And the board is requested to issue a proclamation in recognition of National Historic Heritage Month. Our nation. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll go back to those as soon as I finish reading this. And thank you. Our nation celebrates the tremendous celebrations of contributions of more than 60 million Hispanic Americans to our culture and society each year. Nearly 14% of Durham County residents are of Hispanic ancestry, and Durham County is pleased to honor significant contributions of members of the Hispanic American community. And I am going to ask Commissioner Burns if she will read this proclamation, and after that we'll go back and approve the minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Can everyone hear me? Thank you. I got the thumbs up. And thank you, ladies, for that other statement. I wholeheartedly stand behind you. So, the proclamation, National Hispanic Heritage Month 2021. Whereas Americans annually observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central and South America. And whereas this observation was first held in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was later expanded in 1988 by President Ronald Reagan. And whereas generations of Hispanic Americans have defended democracy along this nation's liberty and freedom throughout the world by serving in our armed forces. Whereas approximately 14% of Durham County's residents are Hispanic or of Hispanic descent. And whereas our communities are made stronger when we recognize our diversity and our work to honor, understand, and appreciate the history, achievements, art, music, cuisine, customs, unique traditions, and cultures of our friends, family, and neighbor who represent the Hispanic community. And whereas this year's Hispanic Heritage Month national theme is One Endless Voice to Enhance Our Tradition. And we are fortunate to have a community which takes time to celebrate and honor contributions and service by our Hispanic residents every day. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda Howard, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September 15th, October 15th to 2021 as National Hispanic Heritage Month in Durham, and we urge all residents to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month by always honoring generations of Hispanic residents who have made our nation strong and prosperous with their essential contributions to North Carolina, Durham County, and beyond. This is the 11th day of October 2020.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Open it up for any comments from commissioners. Commissioner Long.
I would just like to recognize, as we celebrate National Hispanic Heritage Month, that we also celebrate two of our history-making Latino women who have been elected in Durham, with Alexandria Valladares to our school board and Javier Caballero, the first Latina elected to council. So just celebrating our two very own historic elections.
Thank you. Anything else from commissioners? Thank you. I think this was very timely that we recognize National Hispanic Heritage Month. So the next proclamation is Indigenous People Day 2021. And that one, I'm asking Commissioner Chair Jacobs if you would read that one.
Are you going to do your minutes?
I keep forgetting those minutes. Let's go back and do those minutes. Okay, we'll do that right now. Thank you.
Madam Chair, we also have time. I had a few announcements if we had time.
Okay, I didn't see your hand when we were doing announcements.
Oh yeah, sorry, I had written it.
Okay, let's do the minutes. And you have, how many announcements do you have?
3 short ones.
Okay, so we have the minutes for September 13th, 2021. Can I get a motion? Are there any edits or corrections that need to be made?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of our minutes.
Okay, and we'll get a second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second to approve the minutes. We got a roll call from Maceo. There you are.
Commissioner Long,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
and Chair Howard.
Aye. Minutes been approved 5-0. Okay, you say that, Commissioner Long, you said you have a couple of announcements that you want to make.
Yes, and I think there might be other commissioners also who have some announcements. I think Commissioner Burns also had her hand up. But the first one I had was the NC Ag Adventures is an NC state extension program that has grants for North Carolina independent farmers for new and innovative agricultural project ideas which will increase farm profits. They have a program that will be awarding a minimum of 40 grants. The maximum award is $8,000, and Durham County farmers in Durham County are eligible to apply. The deadline to apply is 8 p.m. December 15th, and the website is www.ncagventures.org. The second one I had was North Carolina Asian Americans Together is hosting a redistricting advocacy training this Thursday on October 14th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. You can sign up at ncaat.org/redistricting. And my final one was just in response to the statement that Commissioner Jacobs read on behalf of the board for our community members who are in need of support. You can call the LGBTQ National Hotline that's online 24/7, I believe. The number is 888-843-4564.
Was there anything else, Commissioner Burns?
Mine were very quick. I was trying to be commissioner along. I only had two and a possible. So number one, I just wanted to say congratulations to Durham. Some of you saw in the media that the SBA chose Durham County for their new Minority Business Development Center. And I don't know if you all, that is 5 years
No,
We're getting this.
they're getting. I'm
Hang.
So if commissioners, if you would give those announcements to the clerk so that they can be either put on the website, so that the community can have those, it's recommended that you do that you make sure that, Maceo gets those, for Monica, so that the citizens can have those. There are a lot of things happening. I participated this morning on, just briefly, what's called a racial wealth gap. And this was for our educators across the state, and just brought greetings for them. And that was happening up at NCCU with Leslie Walden from Fidelity, and several of the dean of the business school, Nelson. So they had a array of professors on that call and talking about the wealth gap, racial wealth gap that's happening right here in this. So, and I'm sure those notes will probably be on the website, on NCCU's website. So there are a lot of things that are happening in this community. And most of all, we want to be able to take care of our little ones and be able to create an environment that they can thrive. So we're going to move on because we have quite a few proclamations. And Commissioner Jacobs, would you read the Indigenous People Day? And then after you read that, we'll have Carrie Bird, president of Triangle Native American Society, on the line to accept the proclamation.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and very exciting to read this proclamation when we are making history as the first time that a president of the United States is acknowledging and proclaiming today as Indigenous Peoples Day throughout our country. Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Indigenous Peoples Day 2021. Whereas at first European contact, Native tribes populating North Carolina comprised 3 linguistic groups, Iroquoian, Siouan, and Algonquin. And whereas the earliest Native inhabitants in this region experienced conquest, enslavement, displacement, and disease, which decimated the population. And whereas recognizing Indigenous Peoples Day serves as a reminder to reflect on the Native people who were here before us and their descendants. And whereas Durham County is built upon the ancestral homelands of the Indigenous peoples now recognized as the Kohari, Eastern Band of Cherokee, Hali, and I don't want to say this incorrectly, Haliwa, Saponi, Lumbee, Meherrin, Okanichi Band of the Saponi, and Waccamaw Siouan, and affirms the legal rights of the 8 state recognized tribal nations in the state of North Carolina. And whereas the Triangle Native American Society, representing over 11,000 American Indian citizens from these 8 state recognized tribes and a variety of other tribal nations now residing in Durham County and the Triangle area. Now, therefore, be it resolved, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October 11th, 2021 as Indigenous Peoples Day in Durham County, and we ask that you acknowledge and celebrate the culture and sacrifice of the first people of this land, this 11th day of October, 2021.
Thank you, Chanda. Yes.
Carrie Bird is not on the line, unfortunately. I don't know if somebody else could present for her, but she's not on the line.
Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, commissioners, any comments regarding this proclamation? Well, Commissioner Burns?
I'm just happy. I go along with the fact that it has been some time or no time since that we've had a president to actually acknowledge. And I want people to understand this is not the erasure of history. You can teach Columbus Day and Indigenous People Day in the same classroom. So arguments that are being made about both, the fact that we have taken time as a group to honor those folks, that's important to me. When I look at what Johnston County is going through right now, where they're trying to tell their teachers what they need to teach, and we don't have that problem here, I'm just happy that we have leadership that says this is important, not just at the national level, but also at the local level. So I can appreciate that. And and you did really great with those tribes, Commissioner Jacob. So special. I want to also just touch on we honor this land, we honor this water, and we appreciate, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody keep me honest, both the Okanichi and the Eno tribe that came before us right here in Durham. So I'm thankful for that, and I'm thankful for this proclamation, and I hope we can lead in this way.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Anyone else? Commissioner Jacobs.
I appreciate Commissioner Burns' comments, and when we had our Confederate Monuments mission and they did their report, that one of the recommendations was that we make sure that we have monuments and memorials to people who are not represented in our community. And one of them was recognizing the first people of our county, as well as the enslaved people who are the foundation of the economy of this county. And so I look forward to one day soon having monuments and memorials to both of these important people and groups of people, and telling their stories and celebrating them.
Thank you both. We're going to move on. So we've got several more proclamations. The next one is a resolution urging the state to fulfill its constitutional duty to provide every child access to a sound basic education. And Commissioner Lum, if you will read this one for us.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. And before I read it, I just want to also thank Every Child NC for, really advocating for this resolution, and also to our school board members who also passed this resolution at the school board level.
Yeah.
The Durham Board of County Commissioners resolution. Resolution urging the state to fulfill its constitutional duty to provide every child access to a sound basic education. Whereas, for more than 25 years, North Carolina lawmakers from both parties have failed to meet their constitutional obligation to provide all children in the state with a sound basic education. And whereas far too many students, particularly students of color, students from economically disadvantaged families, students with disabilities, English learners, and rural students have been denied the opportunities promised to them under the North Carolina Constitution. And whereas the state Constitution and North Carolina general statutes place the responsibility to fund a public school system that provides every child in the state with access to a sound basic education, with the state of North Carolina, both the executive and legislative branches. And whereas adequate educational opportunities cannot realistically be provided without adequate education funding. And whereas on March 15th, the state submitted to the court a long-term comprehensive remedial plan, the Leandro Plan, detailing specific steps state leaders must enact to remedy the ongoing constitutional violations in our public school system and ensure that all students have access to the education they are owed under the state constitution. And whereas the Leandro Plan represents the bare minimum of the steps state leaders must take to fulfill their constitutional duties and is not a menu from which policymakers may select their preferred initiative. And whereas Governor Cooper's budget recommendation for 2021-23 demonstrates that the Leandro Plan can be fully implemented within existing state resources. And whereas on June 7th, Judge W. David Lee ordered the state to implement the Leandro Plan in full and in accordance with the timeline set forth therein. And whereas district leaders, including school board members, stand ready to direct additional state resources to the students and schools with the greatest, such that all children have an equal opportunity to realize their full potential. And whereas receiving a quality education is paramount to catalyzing the full growth and self-actualization of students, families, communities, our state as a whole. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Durham County Commission, request that the North Carolina General Assembly fully enact the policy and funding reforms included in the Leandro Plan to ensure that all North Carolina students have access to a sound basic education by the 2028 school year. This, the 11th day of October, 2021.
Thank you, Commissioner Lum. I guess I kind of got stuck on that 2028 date, thinking, can we back it up a little bit? And they funded before then. I know that's what it says, but looked like we could do it earlier. Thank you so much for bringing that forward. Commissioner Carter, haven't forgotten you. Can you read the next one on Durham Domestic Workers Day of Recognition?
Yes, indeed, I can. I would be honored to read this one.
Great.
Durham Board of County Commissioners Proclamation, Durham Domestic Workers Day of Recognition 2021. Whereas domestic and care workers are the child care, direct care providers, and house cleaners who do the important work of making our homes safe environments and offer much needed care for ourselves and our loved ones. And whereas domestic and care workers are the backbone of our economy and make it possible for others to work. And whereas there is an increasing need to fill essential roles of caring for the elderly who will need in-home services in the future, and the third of all young children needing care. And whereas domestic and care workers provide physical, medical, emotional, and spiritual support for the individuals they work with. And whereas historically these roles have been performed by women, Black women, and people of color, undocumented individuals, and other vulnerable populations, and have been invisibilized and devalued. And whereas there are almost 3.5 million domestic care workers nationwide whose contributions go unnoticed, who do not receive fair wages or benefits, who labor in unsafe conditions and aren't covered by comprehensive labor protection. And whereas there are over 53 million unpaid family caregivers who make up 21% of all adults and who provide assistance to the majority of aging adults and are not recognized for the invaluable support they provide. And whereas COVID-19 has had devastating impact on workers in general, domestic and care workers have worked throughout the pandemic, providing services to support our families and loved ones and risk their own and families' health, and have finally been widely acknowledged as essential workers. And whereas there is a history of domestic and care workers creating and leading social justice movements, and domestic and care workers in the South, like Dorothy Bolden, have organized and demanded dignity and recognition and pushed for policy and social change to honor this vital workforce. Now therefore be it resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Durham Board of County Commissioners, do hereby recognize Durham Domestic Workers' Day of Recognition in Durham County, the 11th day of October, 2021.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. And I believe we have Ms. Smith and Ms. Croxton on the line here that would like to have a few words. When want to go first?
Yes, I can start. Thank you, Chair Howerton, and
You're
thank
welcome.
you to Vice Chair Jacob and Commissioner Carter and our newest commissioners, Alam and Burns. Thank you so much for this recognition. And I want to start off by saying that thank you for that introduction, and thank you for that resolution on Leandro. Leandro is one of those plans that we have been following and working with child care advocates around. And we want to make sure that, that is implemented as urgently as possible, because it is an issue for the workforce, it's an issue for teachers, and we know that a sound basic education for children really begins with a supported workforce. So I wanted to start off by saying thank you for that, if for any other reason. My name is Chanel Croxton, or CC, and I'm the state organizing director for the National Domestic Workers Alliance. And I'm accepting on behalf of the National Domestic Workers Alliance. And it seems like yesterday that we requested this proclamation, but it was really 5 years ago, 2017, where we got the first proclamation. And so we thank you all for your continued support. And, so much has changed since 2017. We've expanded our partnerships, our membership, and our power in the state. And recently have even expanded out geographically to Fayetteville, where we're going to have an in-person celebration for this day, and then our month of activities later in the month. And so we're just, consistently expanding and talking to workers and really building up the power of workers who, make all other work possible in the state. And we know that there's still a pandemic, and it still presents, big challenges and barriers, but we've also seen, really great shifts and openings for the work that we do. And we continue to show up for the workforce in the same way they show up for their jobs every day. And we want to make sure that we're organizing and taking advantage of those opportunities of increased investment in the workforce, now that workers are essential workers, and the federal government and all levels of government are really paying attention to what's happening with the workforce. And so at the local, the federal, the state level, we've been working to improve conditions and get legislation passed and make sure that that investment stays long term. And, this is only a part of the work, and this piece around really securing dignity and respect for the workforce is probably the most important. You know, this is a legacy that we inherit from our, you know, movement ancestors, Dorothy Bolden being one of them, a powerful Black woman born in 1923, organizer in Atlanta, Georgia, who organized tens of thousands of domestic workers in a time when they said Black women couldn't do it. And so we always like to look at her as our North Star, and, you know, pass this every year. And so we really thank you for letting this be the 5th time, because we know a statement like this is so powerful, and it's important. As we, you know, get the material conditions, we also have to lead with dignity and respect, and that's something foundational to the work that we do. So thank you. You know, I'm joined by a couple of my colleagues, Erin Parsons, Stephanie Smith, and we have 2 of our members, Venus Sanders and Sonia Hall, here too. I don't know if anyone else wants to say a few words of appreciation, but we definitely, you know, appreciate it, and we are so honored every year that this happens.
Thank you. Thank you. Any comments from others? Carlson or Smith? Anything from either of you?
No,
Wow.
thank you all again.
Well, thank you. I mean, we thank you for the work that you do, and we know, and I know, and I know my board know that this is hard work that you do, and the people that you represent do, and the appreciation is not there. Then from history, the work that you do, and you know, and all of us at a certain age or illness will be looking for somebody to take care of us. And are we doing a good job at taking care of the work? We are not. So I say thank you for what you do, and thank you for being here tonight. Any other comments from any other commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Carter, and then I think I saw Commissioner Jacobs' hand.
I just really want to take this time to thank the representatives of the caregiving economy that are here with us tonight. I mean, you women are really doing God's work, but you aren't paid much for it. And hopefully that will change, as you say. COVID really highlighted the fact that how very essential you are. And Biden is trying to invest in the social infrastructure of our country, and hopefully that will come to pass as well, and that you will begin to earn a fairer wage very, very soon. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Jacobs and Commissioner Burns, I saw your hand. Commissioner Lum, okay, in that order. Thank you.
I just want to echo Commissioner Carter's comments and thank you, all of you, for the work that you do, and CC for this being an annual tradition. It's so important to tell the story of Dorothy Bolden and to lift up the plight of our caregivers and the important work that you all do for us on every single level, from the whole span of life. And I want to thank you, particularly CC, for your role on the Recovery and Renewal Task Force, representing workers, and for organizing a worker town hall. I know I listened in on that and I learned so much. I hope that can be actually an annual tradition, because we really need to hear from the workers in our community about what are the challenges that people are facing, so that we can learn about what policies and changes that we need to make. And one of the silver linings I do think from the pandemic is seeing the $15 hour upper age wage really turning a corner. I was driving yesterday, and I can't remember exactly where I was, in a very rural part of North Carolina. I don't remember what town it was, but there was a big billboard at a fast food restaurant, and they were advertising $16.40 an hour. And I hope that that we're seeing that change for all of our caregivers as well. And thank you again.
I think it was Commissioner Burns and then Commissioner Long.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I also I convey the same sentiment as my colleague, but it wasn't until, and as somebody who's been a past caregiver, it wasn't until you hear this message uplifted again. Many of you all are familiar with Untitled Town measure. This year we had a panel at the Durham Committee banquet as opposed to speaker, and she uplifted this work. And I think so many times we just hear, oh, this is because of the pandemic, this is because of the pandemic, and we don't really think about the number. And she pointed out, that there were 3,600 people last year. Now we've lost some this year. They got to continue to do a 12-month study, but 3,600 individuals. This is in the U.S. I think 115,000 worldwide. But that's how many caregivers we lost. And you saw that lower paid staff, home healthcare workers, and nurses were like 3 times more likely to die than. So we even see like there's a disparity in access to healthcare funding. The other thing that was interesting was, or not interesting, I say staggering, we saw that 18% of healthcare workers quit. And I said, can you blame them? Because you still have people out here pretending like there's no such thing as COVID, pretending like they don't have to wear a mask, and you're asking me to come into your household and to be in close proximity to your body and to help you every day, but you're not doing these things. And just broadly, next thing you saw 31% of folks say, you know what, if I could quit this job, I would. And then I think it was like a 10 or 15% drop in home healthcare workers. I say all that to say, if we lose this industry, you got to think who is going to be at home to help people with physical therapy. So just this mindset around COVID has exacerbated the situation where people can get out of the hospital and kind of sort of get healthy at home. And that's what doctors wanted them to do. We want to push people out of the hospital because it's not a healthy environment with COVID. But then when you send them home, we have now lost so many physical therapists and so many home healthcare workers that these people can't even rest or get ready in place. So I want the community to just think about right now, it's not just our hospitals are overloaded. The more we are irresponsible, we are putting pressure on this, not just about pay, but the fact that people say, I don't want to do this anymore. So hats off to you ladies. I know how hard it was recently when one of my family members had surgery just to get a home health care nurse to come in for like 5 weeks, because in that rural community there was nobody. So I too want to hear more. I know that most of 99% of those industries are privatized, but keep bringing us these messages so that we can uplift our voices about it.
Commissioner Long?
Thank you, Chair Houghton. I want to join in thanking Cece, Stephanie, and Aaron for bringing this forward, and not just this year, but all the years prior, and all the behind the scenes work that has gone into bringing this proclamation forward and recognizing our workers. I want to personally also recognize the importance of home caregivers. A lot of it's been exacerbated, as my colleagues have mentioned, during COVID, but also recognizing outside of COVID, the weight that a home caregiver carries. Oftentimes, for my grandma, we had a home caregiver who would come in and it was near the end of her life. And these home caregivers recognize that, and they have to carry this weight that they're doing this work, recognizing that, their patient is going to pass soon. And that is a very emotional burden to have to carry. And they often aren't taking care of themselves. So recognizing that and thanking them for this work of supporting not only my grandma, but our whole family through that entire process. And, they do that with countless patients. And also just celebrating that, it's so exciting that one of the first votes that we took as a board was to support that $15 minimum wage increase that Commissioner Jacobs mentioned. And that just goes to show how in solidarity our board is with your mission and your values as well. We hope to continue to carry on those values, support your work. Thank you.
Well, You know, when we thank you, Ms. Commissioner Lom, when you talk about all of us have had experience with in-home nurses to take care of our loved ones. I lost a brother to Lou Gehrig's disease, and he had someone come in, and then my mom. So we've all had that, and if it were not for the home care nurses, I really don't know what we would do. So, but the thing I want to just kind of end with here is I think about the evening that we were at the movies with popcorn. And I'm just wondering if you're doing any of those kinds of things to take care of yourselves right now. And I know with COVID, it's been hard to go to the movies and have popcorn, but I hope you're doing something to take care of yourselves. That is so important. If you do that, you promise?
Yes, we've done a lot of virtual movie nights too. So don't worry. We have our members are on it. We do kinship all the time. So self-care is a huge part of this work.
Okay, good. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye. I have one more that I'm going to read, Commissioners, and I wore my pink. And this is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I saw somebody else holding up the pink. Okay. Burns in her pink says, whereas each year nearly 225,000 women get breast cancer, and 42,000 will die from the disease. And whereas breast cancer is about 100 times more common in women than men, 1 in 8 women still will be diagnosed with the disease. And diagnosis increase as patients get older. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month serves as an opportunity to increase awareness of the disease and to encourage individuals to have a plan to detect the disease in its early stages. And whereas it is vital that those affected by breast cancer have access to quality, affordable care, and that research of all forms of breast cancer continues to be vigorously supported. And whereas over the years, and thanks to dedicated medical researchers, great progress has been made in the detection and treatment of breast cancer. And whereas with the enactment of the Affordable Care Act, millions more patients have access to coverage, which enables them to receive regular mammograms, and thus many more lives have been saved. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, do proclaim October 2021 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. In Durham County, we urge all residents to applaud breast cancer survivors, along with the many advocates, medical professionals, researchers, and caregivers who dedicate their lives to battling and seeking cures for this dreaded disease. The 11th day of October 2021. And I think that's something that's probably touched all of us in some form or fashion. I don't think we had anybody on the line to speak on that one. Commissioners, are any comments from you? I don't see any hands, so we will move on. So I think we're down to our consent agenda, commissioners. We have 22 items on our consent agenda. Are there any items? I'm going to ask our interim manager if there are any items that she wanted to pull or commissioners want to pull.
There are no items that I desire to pull.
Okay. Commissioners, what's your pleasure? If there's none to be pulled, can I get a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Jacobs, second.
I think it was Commissioner Carter.
Was that Commissioner Carter? Did I see your hand, Commissioner Jacobs? Which was it? Okay, so Commissioner Carter, second. Okay. And Maceo, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Long,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacob.
I just have a quick comment after we approve it.
And Chair Hamilton.
Aye. The consent agenda has been approved 5-0. What was your comment, Commissioner Jacobs?
I just really wanted to uplift our staff because there are just so many wonderful items on the consent agenda. And I know we don't always get to celebrate them at our night meetings, but I just really wanted to recognize the progress on affordable housing, on health equity and maternal health, on sustainability, and our refugee and immigrant coordinator, and also the very exciting approval of the Cameron Grove Cemetery, which the county will have the option to actually have control of. So in terms of celebrating and recognizing people in our community who are often ignored. So just want to really celebrate our staff for carrying through on the priorities of our board, which is reflected in so many of the items today. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to say that, and Commissioner Burns mentioned this at our work session as well. Our staff does so well at applying for grants. We get so many grants, funding, and there are several in this agenda, and I just want to lift up a thank you for all of that. Takes a lot of work because that's not their job every day to be filling out grants, but they do it, and they do it with graciously and eagerly. So just want to say thanks to the staff for doing those. So the next thing is our health director, public health director, 210630, Durham Public Health Focus Update. We've got our health director, Rod, there you are. Give us an update as to where we are.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, Interim Manager Hager, Attorney Darby. Thank you for your continued support, and I'm going to try to share my screen once again. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
All right. Your update for the day, again, we continue to encourage our general population to keep pushing and doubling down on public health measures. We want everyone to continue to practice the 3 W's. It keeps us safe. But most importantly, we want you to get vaccinated. If you are eligible for the booster, we encourage you get your booster at our clinic. We have the great privilege of providing all of them. And I'd like to say to the commissioners and everyone in the listening audience that cautious optimism about. We do have a lot to be optimistic about, but we should not get ahead of ourselves. COVID is still out. Our total cases for the past 7 days is much, much lower than it was the last time I presented to you all. We have 410 total cases. We did have a few more deaths, which is to be expected with the sustained level of infection. 264 deaths. Our thoughts, minds, and meditations are always with those families who lost loved ones to COVID-19. 11 other deaths have been associated with COVID-19. Our 7-day moving average is way down. I think the last month it was in the high 90s, 80s, 90s, 65 positive cases. This is a decrease, as indicated, of about 20.74% from last week, 26.97% from the previous week. And it just is indicative of the fact that we're kind of at that peak where we're going down, and we hope that we continue to go down. So far for the month of October, there have been 571 total cases thus far. Again, for confirmed cases, we continue to see the same trend. Of course, African Americans, Blacks have been disproportionately affected by COVID. Since March 2020, it represents 39.56% of all of our cases, followed by whites, 29.52%, and others. We do see quite a bit of that age range from 18 to 49. That is the sweet spot when it comes to COVID-19. We do continue to see females in Durham County being disproportionately affected by COVID-19. That was reported to you all last month. In terms of race and ethnicity trends, we're seeing Hispanics and Blacks currently being overrepresented, but not by large margins. Hispanics, 19.58% of our cases, though they represent 14% of the population. Blacks right now are right at about 43.17%, though they represent 37% of our population. And our white population continues to be underrepresented in all of our COVID-19 cases. The great news is that our positive percentage has continued to go down over the weeks, and that is certainly good news. Since about early to mid-September, we've been slowly going past 5%. That is where we want to be. Currently, we're at 4.3%. I think I did check the CDC this morning. It was at 3.9%. So we hope that it continues to go down. This is definitely where we'd like to be, and we certainly hope that we remain. Proud to report that 70.4% of our eligible population, for right now, that's 12 and up, have been fully vaccinated. This is certainly good news. My goal for Durham has always been to get to about 80%. I am confident that we will get there, and we have been in this fight committed to making sure we get there. So again, our numbers speak for themselves, and this is in due in part to the Herculean effort of staff. All praises to the staff at the Durham Department of Public Health and our community partners doing a fantastic job and not letting their foot off the gas when it comes to vaccinations. So far, 394,450 total vaccinations have been performed through October the 9th. There have been 1,949 vaccinations administered by us since from October 1st to October the 9th. As far as statistics and demographics, as far as the white population, we have 72.98% of our residents that have been partially vaccinated, 57.87% fully vaccinated. Black African American represents 58.59% of our residents partially vaccinated or receiving one dose, 44.21% fully vaccinated. Asian population, those smaller numbers, represents 91.49% that have been received a first dose. 69.49% receive their second dose. Latinx population continues to do extremely well. Right now, there's been 27,604 vaccinations, representing 71.58% of our residents with Hispanic residents with one dose, and 51.89% fully vaccinated. So we continue to do well in that population as well. When it comes to breakthrough cases, we're keeping a close eye on this. I think I said early on that we would. And although we've only had a small caseload as of October the 9th, represent 45.85%, we've seen it increase a little bit to 25.21%. And for the entire month of September, it was 24.74. As you are reminded, a breakthrough case is that in which a person has been fully vaccinated for at least 14 days before contracting COVID-19. Thus, the need for us to continue to be very, very vigilant when it comes to protecting. Vaccine updates. Special thanks to Maceo and Monica for always putting information in the bulletin about our clinic operation hours. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday we're open from 9 to 4. We have extended hours on Tuesdays, Fridays. We are closed. However, we'll take someone who wants to come and get vaccinated, but we try to reserve Fridays for select community vaccination events, and we're starting to get a lot more requests, as you would imagine. We patiently await the approval of boosters for Moderna, Johnson & Johnson vaccines, and we also patiently await the approval of vaccines for children ages 5 to 11. We are most confident that we will hear something toward the end of the month, very latest, early November, what I'm being told. And again, the attack rate last month, it was 5.5 times more likely to get COVID-19 if we're vaccinated. Unvaccinated. This month, it's 4.5 times. So that kind of shows us that, again, our infection rates are starting to go down. More and more people are getting vaccinated. So in other words, the vaccine just simply does not have too many places to go. However, the attack rate is still pretty strong. So if you're unvaccinated, the likelihood that you'll get COVID is still very, very strong. And if you are vaccinated, we want you to practice the 3 Ws to protect yourselves, because we know breakthrough cases happen. Mortality rate, again, if you're unvaccinated, per 100,000 individuals, you're about 75% likely to pass away due to COVID-19, whereas if you're vaccinated, per 100,000, 14%. So we want to make sure that we let our listening audience know that it still pays for you to get vaccinated. In terms of deaths, don't mean for this turn into a very morbid session, but again, these are just facts and I'm here to present them. We still see deaths being reported primarily around older individuals. The majority of our deaths have come from those individuals who are likely in their 70s to 80s. Again, COVID continues to be an equal opportunity killer. So Black, African American, and whites are kind of like neck and neck in terms of percentages of those who passed away. And again, we've seen the most deaths in the second quarter of 2020, but as vaccines have come on board, we're starting to see that dissipate a little bit more toward most. Educational clusters, proud to report that we have done a very good job trying to reduce those. So you can kind of see, you go from left to right, you see that as it stands right now, be it colleges, be it universities, be it public schools, charter schools, the amount of clusters that we have continues to dissipate. And we continue to work with DPS. I was fortunate to be able to attend the educational roundtable. That was one of the roundtables that came out of the Recovery and Renewal Task Force. They're still convening, and they had a meeting last Thursday, I believe it was. well attended, and really, really proud of the work that our educational institutions are doing around protecting kids and keeping each other safe. Also happy to report that hospitalizations due to COVID is leveling off, really becoming a lot more stable. And our numbers are reflecting right about now, the percentage of all ICU beds that pre-COVID patients is right at about 21.4. From what I've talked to our hospital partners, they said that's a very, very stable place. So again, we thank you so much for your support. And at this time, we're happy to take any additional questions.
Thank you so much, Rod, for your report. You always give us really good information. So I'll open it up for commissioners' questions or comments. Commissioner Alum.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. Thank you, Director Jenkins, as always, for your amazing work and very detailed report for us. I had a few questions, but I wanted to start off with a comment. I wanted to also recognize Director Jenkins just announced to the Public Health Board a few days ago that the Department of Public Health has just identified our new Public Health Director, or Medical Director, Dr. Jenks, sorry, not Public Health Director, Medical Director, and also thanking Dr. Anita Jackson for her service through the pandemic and welcoming Dr. Jenks into this new role. I had a few questions. Last week, I had seen there was like the state health department had released like a letter about there was like miscalculations in the vaccination rates that had impacted Orange County of how they were calculating. That didn't impact Durham County's vaccination rate, correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So we're still good. And for the rate, you mentioned that women are right now still more susceptible to getting COVID-19. Do we know if there's any data, like, is that more so because women are getting vaccinated at a lower rate, or because, like, you know, women just happen to be in more frontline worker positions that they're exposed to it, or is it a mixture of both?
In my humble opinion, it's the latter, and it's primarily attributed to the fact that we do have a lot more females on frontline positions, be it working in hospitals, long-term care facilities, grocery stores, or whatever have you. And as we've known throughout the entire pandemic, they are our heroes. They're the ones that cannot take time off or not go to work or work virtually. So that's what we've been seeing throughout the entire pandemic, and it's just so happened that our data is really bringing that to light.
Thank you. And I saw that you put that Durham County is at 70% vaccination rate. What's the percentage rate that we as a county or state needs to get to be at herd immunity?
That's a hard one. That's a real hard. That's a tough one. I would love to see us get, anywhere from 80 to 85%, quite honestly. I am confident that we're going to get there because, we do have a number of things going on that works in our favor. Number one, we have what we just, talked about, 70.4%. That's a good start. Number two, we know that we have a population in Durham that listens to the science, and they want to protect themselves. They want to wear masks. They want to be able to, get back to normal. Number three, we certainly have a number of things on the horizon that works in our favor. That is the fact that Merck just introduced an antiviral pill that is really being heralded as a game changer. So we know that's coming. We also know that, again, our most vulnerable population, in my humble opinion, right now is our babies, our kids. And vaccinations from 5 to 11 are right around the corner. It has been reported that CDC director is favorable to it. So it's just a matter of kind of going through the motion. We know that's going to happen. That's a whole different demographic. And it's also been reported that anywhere from 36 to 40% of parents want their kids to get vaccinated. I'm hoping that in Durham it's higher, but that's nationwide. I just really feel that, and also, the fact that millions and millions of Americans have been affected on. So again, that immunity that you speak of, it's more likely that we'll have a lot more immunity in our communities now because of the fact that the virus simply doesn't have anywhere else to go. It needs a host to keep going. Now, again, my first slide says cautious optimism abounds. Those are the reasons why we're optimistic. However, we should not cast all cares to the wind. We should just continue to be vigilant, continue to hold on for a little bit longer. I do see brighter days ahead. We just need to really continue to
And I have 3 more quick ones. Sorry, Chair Hodgkin.
Right.
Okay.
That's okay.
So you need, okay, how many more questions, or can
3.
you just send? Okay.
They're super quick.
Okay, if they're quick, otherwise you'll need to send your questions to Rod and let him email you so that the other commissioners can have an opportunity to ask a couple questions as well. So if it's quick.
Yeah, they are quick, I promise.
Okay.
I got the hard ones out the way. For the booster shot, you mentioned that Moderna and Johnson & Johnson were still waiting. If folks are eligible to sign up for the Pfizer booster, or are they signing up through the same method?
They can walk in. We've had folks to walk in. I say on average, we've been averaging about right at about 100 vaccinations a day. They're welcome to come in. We allow them to self-test that they qualify for the booster, and we have a vaccine clinic full of professionals that are ready to give you.
Right. Okay. And the last 2 are: do we still have incentives available for folks to get vaccinated?
No, we are out of the incentive business, and I don't mean to sound flippant about that, but after 25,000 gift cards administered and a lot of activity at 414 East Main Street, we are out of the incentive business.
When did that stopped a while back? What date was that?
It truth be told, it officially stopped on August 31st, but we did have a little bit more to go. The state didn't want us to send too many boxes back, but by mid-September we were done.
Yeah.
And my last one, we have a lot of data about the vaccination rates between men and women. Have we been collecting any data around folks who are gender non-binary, of their vaccination rates, people who may not identify as male or female?
I will be honest. We've not dived into that data. I'm happy to check that out for you, but I'm willing to bet that we do, because a lot of folks, will not check male or female, they'll check other, and we have a huge swath that is other. And we don't want to be presumptuous and say that's that group, but more than happy to check on that for you.
Yeah, it would be great if, like, in the presentations in the future, if we just include like the other, their vaccination rate.
More than happy.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's it, Chair Howerton.
Okay. So, other commissioners, Commissioner Burns.
Mine is actually really quick, and it is. I know, because Netta covered so much. So this weekend, the Links of Durham donated a computer center to McDougal Care. And while we were outside, there was a group, Work for Life was there, Hearst Pharmacy was there, and they were actually giving out vaccinations. And I had a couple of people stop me and actually say, hey, are these flu vaccines? And I was like, not today. So I guess, Rod, I know, have we been getting questions on those? I know that, most people go to their doctors, a lot of folks go to pharmacies. Is that a business that we're going to get into, or are we just going to stay in the COVID business? And again, or have you been seeing requests for those? So I guess the big question is, have you been seeing any requests? And because we just haven't been seeing that sense of urgency, these past couple of years. So just your thoughts on flu vaccine now, because that's bad.
I would just say, of course, we encourage everyone on the sound of my voice to get the flu vaccine.
Right.
It just so happened that right now we're still in the COVID business.
Right.
But of course, if you come to our agency, we're going to give you a flu shot if you want. Traditionally, Durham County Department of Public Health would be doing mass flu vaccine campaign. We'd be coming to you guys and say, hey, we want to give you a flu shot and everything. But of course, with everything on the horizon, all the good things on the horizon, COVID, we are just kind of sticking with COVID. But trust me when I say you'll see a lot from our PIO around flu, because we do know that flu is here in Durham.
Right.
And it's not running as rampant, but things like flu and RSV are prevalent right now, and just really wreaking havoc. I know a lot of people, really suffering from it right now. But thank you for bringing that up. I definitely know that I need to start promoting that.
Quick follow up, because I remember when I got my COVID shot, they asked, had I had vaccine 2 weeks. For the public, is that window still 2 weeks? Because I know we got folks boosters now, and so I want to make sure that folks know how to space those out. So, in your professional opinion,
we certainly would expect, and we would request that you wait 2 weeks, because, those of you who've gotten the COVID and know how you felt, it's my understanding that the boosters will make you feel the exact same way. So, it's important to be very open, honest, and transparent. Let people know exactly what to expect. So, we don't want to compound that, but it's important for me to say, Commissioner Burns and others, that you can get your COVID vaccine and flu shot at the same time, but it's your prerogative. Yes, you can.
Okay, so we've
I'll
got
be waiting on you.
Commissioners, you've got about 3 more minutes on this conversation. So I know that Commissioner Long took up a little bit of time, but so 3 more minutes and we'll end this. Commissioner Jacobs?
That's great presentation, Rod, and will you send that out to us afterwards? Thank you.
More than happy to do that, Vice Chair.
Excellent, and great questions from my fellow board members. I'm so glad, I know we're all glad to see the 7-day average going down, to see, we're also now used to looking at where the graph is going, right? And to see it going back down again. I do think it's important to recognize that we're still not back down to where we were this summer. And so for people to really, we still have a ways to go to get back to where we were in July. And I know we also have to pay attention to the winter months coming and the cold weather. I have seen articles saying that, there is a concern that it could go back up again. So, we do need to keep, my message to the community out there is just, we've got to keep working on getting people vaccinated. When I look at the numbers that you shared with us, Rod, and seeing it's that age group that thinks they're invisible, our younger people in their 20s and 30s. And, and you showed it in the data that, Delta is it is really deadly. It can be very, very deadly for people, even healthy people. So one of my questions to you, Rod, was, do you feel like it will be possible to do a rollout of the vaccine actually in Durham Public Schools when they become available? I have a great memory to this day of getting my rubella umbrella vaccination. People are in the same age range, I don't know, but I got it in the gym of my school, and they painted a little red umbrella on my arm, and we got it at school from the school nurse. So is there any conversation about really doing that and incorporating it within the school day to make it so easy for families?
We've continued to have various discussions with Dr. Benga and his executive team about the best way forward. Right now, to be quite honest, most of the focus is on testing. Not to say that can't pivot toward vaccination. I have availed my services to Durham Public Schools to let them know, should this be the route you want to take, I'm more than happy to do it. I think the main problem that we have now, Madam Vice Chair, is just bandwidth, and to be able to have the personnel needed in order to go to the majority of the schools, but we have offered to have those type setups inside major hubs, those predominant high schools that everyone can go to. So it's not necessarily off the table, but we do know that retail pharmacies, from the briefing I received this morning from the state, retail pharmacies, public health departments, and pediatric offices are the pecking order for pediatric vaccination. Proud to report that all of the pharmacy partners that we have, CVS and Walgreens, are teaming up to be able to do the pediatric vaccinations. But again, we do have great partners, pediatric partners that have been alongside us the entire time, particularly giving a big shout out to Chapel Hill Pediatrics, Dr. Mary Braithwaite, for incredible work that they've been doing. So we, to get to the crux of your question, we're willing to do it, but we just need to make sure that we do it right. We gotta make sure that we are invited to the table to do it. But that would be a heavy lift. But nevertheless, if it's something that they want, we'll do our best to get it out.
Thank you.
Just a quick question, Rod. Is there time between the COVID shot and the vaccine and the flu shot that people have to wait?
As mentioned, like I said to Commissioner Burns, we're waiting on you guys because we would love to be able to give you your booster shot and the flu vaccine at the same time. However, to alleviate pain, if you would or are so inclined to wait weeks, then we'd be more than happy to have it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions from commissioners? Okay. All right. Seeing no hands, thank you so much. As always, you do a great job and give us a lot of information, and your PowerPoint slides are great. So they will be available on the website. Is that correct?
We're gonna send it to Maceo right now.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Thank you for your support.
Okay. All right, Commissioner, that is our last item, and the next our next item is a closed session.
Commissioner, Chair Howerton.
Yes.
I just want to throw out there, this is the first time, I know we thanked staff earlier, but this is the first time that I've actually had a meeting that was facilitated by Maceo. So I want to thank our interim clerk. We were told to be nice to you. So I hope you felt the love that and thank you for getting us to this meeting and getting us to the end. We appreciate you. So thank you, interim clerk Carl.
Yes. Yeah. Great job. Great job.
And I hope we don't take you away from your Zumba class too much.
So
we are good. This is the priority.
So, commissioners, the board is requested to adjourn into closed session for the following: to establish or to instruct the public body's staff or negotiating agent concerning the position to be taken by or on behalf of the public body in negotiating the price and other material terms of a contract or proposed contract for the acquisition of real property by purchase, option, exchange, or lease, or the amount of compensation and other material terms of an employment contract or proposed employment contract pursuant to GS 143-318.11A5. To consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to GS 143-318.11A3. At this time, commissioners, I will entertain a motion for approval to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move that we go into closed session for the reasons stated.
Okay, I get a second.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second by Blum and Jacobs. And roll call.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacob,
Aye.
and Chair Howard.
Aye. 5-0. We are moving into closed session. And we can ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move, Madam Chair.
Second.
Moving properly second to adjourn. All in favor? Do I need to go to roll call or you can just say all in favor? Teresa,
Roll call. Let's do the roll call.
let's go to
Commissioner
roll call.
Long,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacob,
Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye. We are adjourned. Good night.
Good night. Thank you all.
Great job.